I'm First Alert meteorologist Andrew Gorton in the Weather Center. We have declared a First Alert weather day for this Saturday and Sunday. A large, extremely dangerous, and potentially deadly tornado. This could actually be the worst flood in U.S. history. 2 more feet of rain, could fall feet, not inches, over in South Texas. And Houston had a pretty big tornado earlier, too. Always a threat with tropical systems. Unfortunately, it's happening over in Texas. Show you here on the radar how massive this storm is. Now, Galveston is up here. The eye of the storm and the strongest winds are going to be way down here closer to Corpus Christi. Now, the center of the eye is about 70 miles still from the coast. But what a lot of people don't realize about the state of Texas is that there are barrier islands all along, really south of Galveston towards the border with Mexico. And those are the areas that are going to get hit the hardest. A tornado emergency right now in the city of Albany. Part of the town already has been hit. Damage reports already coming in. Seek shelter. Watch us on your phone. Do not stick by a TV. You need to get into a shelter position now. That does not mean that it's safe to go outside, because that southern and that western edge of the eye, it's going to come back in here pretty soon, and the wind and the rain is going to kick back up to Tropical Storm Cindy, which is officially now a named storm out in the Gulf of Mexico. It's about 550 miles or so away from us here in southwest Georgia. But the circulation is not really where the rain is. It's all off toward the northeast, getting pretty active. So those showers and thunderstorms are going to continue to move up into South Georgia. There are down trees and there are down power lines in the roads right now, and we're going to keep you updated on the progress of the power outages and when they can start fixing those. But for now, live in Valdosta for WALB News 10, I'm First Alert meteorologist Andrew Gorton. West front, or an outflow boundary, and what that is a downdraft. Actually acts like a mini cold front coming out of these storms as they cycle through and die out. And what that's doing, it's popping up more storms. We do have a slight chance of rain there at 8 o'clock, temperature of 89, so you'll definitely want the shorts, but grab the bug spray as well. Those gnats are bad this time of the year. Watch what happens when the popular meme actually comes to life. I'm meteorologist Andrew Gorton at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, and I'm going to show you a few ways how weather impacts the NASCAR race weekend. Let's go. We have all heard the jokes that NASCAR isn't a sport and all the drivers do is turn left, but there's a lot more to it than that. In addition to the physics, engineering, and strategy, the weather plays a big impact on race conditions for the teams. Let's start with track temperatures, which can affect how cars handle on the track.
The hotter the asphalt, the slicker it is, which means less overall grip and slower speeds.
On the flip side, when the air and track temperatures are cooler, crews can add tape to the grille of their vehicle, which affects how much air gets into their engine.
Well, the more tape you run, the hotter the engine will get, because you're closing the amount of air. And it also gives it more downforce on the front and less drag, so it should run faster.
Adding tape has the potential to give teams an advantage, but it comes with a big risk.
But you got a balance of that compared to the engine temperature, because you got to run the whole race. You can't burn your engine up.
Another weather factor that teams must deal with on a race weekend is the wind.
So a lot of times, we pay attention to the wind, which direction it's going, because that affects how fast you're getting into the corner. If you're driving into a headwind, you're not going to get into that corner quite as good.
This is something South Central Georgia native David Reagan had to deal with in practice earlier this weekend when sustained wind speeds were around 20 miles an hour.
Here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the wind was blowing pretty hard down the back straightaway, so driving into turn 1, the car felt a little more grippy, probably a little slower going into turn 1 versus turn 3, where you're with that tailwind and you're going in a lot faster. Out of everything that the weather impacts over a NASCAR race weekend, the tires are what's almost most important. Not only can the temperature change the air pressure in the tires, but they don't have tread, which is why you can't race them in the rain.
Which is why you'll see engineer Pat Suey at the track each race weekend, who not only monitors weather and track conditions for Chevrolet drivers, but times out if and when he thinks it's going to rain during a race.
If you know when it's going to rain, your strategy might play into that. You can decide whether you want to maybe stay out and stretch your fuel a little bit rather than coming in and getting caught a lap down when the rain does start.
When the track is dry and the cars are rolling, crews also have to look at the track temperature and decide which pressures to keep in their tires based on how their car is handling. As the race goes on, tires heat up and expand. If crews start tire pressures off too high, they risk blowing out a tire on the track. These are just a few of the hundreds of variables race teams have to consider while preparing their cars for this weekend's race. Thankfully, rain is not in the forecast, which won't delay one team's dream of raising the Quick Trip Folds of Honor 500 trophy in Victory Lane this Sunday. at Atlanta Motor Speedway. For WALB News 10, I'm meteorologist Andrew Gorton.